Won't be long.
Are you recording, Sophia?
Not yet, I will be soon. Not yet. We'll be very, very soon. Very soon. Okay, let's record. Let's get going.
I think Sheila's frozen.
Yeah, Sheila's frozen. She'll be back. She'll be back. Oh, she's gone. She'll be back. All right, let's get going anyway. She might drop in and out. We'll see what happens. Okay. Welcome to Unlock Your Superconscious Truth to Lead with Purpose. Wonderful panel discussion hosted by Sacred You. My name's Sophia, who I have the honor of co-creating Sacred You. But more importantly, we have this beautiful panel of women facilitated by the one and only Anik Patrick that we are really honored to have with us. So Anik, thank you so much for facilitating today. I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce these amazing women, and I will be back soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. Welcome, welcome, everyone. It's such a joy and an honor to facilitate this panel today. We're going to have a juicy conversation about unlocking your super consciousness truth to lead with purpose. So thank you for saying yes, ladies. And I'm Unique Anik Patry. I am a voice alchemist and holistic business mentor, an international best-selling author, a TEDx speaker, and I'm really excited to dive in this juicy topic. So I'm just gonna go random popcorn as I see on my screen here. Welcome also to the audience who have joined us today. There will be a replay. If you're here live, you get into the right here, right now in what's happening. But if you're watching in replay, send your questions, your comments, and all the things. So I'm going to start by inviting Jen Smith to open your mic and share a bit about you, who you are, where you are, and what's your magic?
Hi, my name's Jen Smith. I am from the US, Illinois,
Oh,
and I am an energy healer. So I do both Reiki and quantum energy healing. And I'm also a mindset coach where I teach people the steps of manifestation and how really to dive deep into the core of who they are, and into their divine being.
amazing. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
Rosie Allaire.
So I am a fellow Canadian, French Canadian,
Yay!
to Anik. And so I am in Northeastern Ontario, in a small community called North Cobalt. I offer moon medicine to women with anxiety. I use a holistic approach of working with anxiety using the effects of the moon, healing energy such as Reiki, crystals, essential oils, and a whole bunch of things that I put into what I refer to as moon medicine. And so I'm excited to be here and welcome.
Great. Awesome, Rolly. Great to have you here today. I'm going to go to beautiful Sarah Roccisano. Is that like the way?
Hey.
Italiano.
Yeah, Roccisano is the Italian, Roccasano is the American. So my name is Sarah Roccasano. I'm happy to be here. I am an author, an international public speaker, and the founder of the travel inspiration site and the encouragement platform Embolden Adventures, which inspires personal, professional, and spiritual development and transformation. So that is my magic, to be emboldened and to encourage others to do the same.
Amazing, Sarah. Welcome. Wow, we've got amazing women here today, tonight, around the globe. It's morning here in Australia. I'm based in Australia, French Canadian in Australia. And then we've got Jen, we've got Rowley, we've got Sarah, and we've got Sheila Marina. Welcome, Sheila. Do you want to tell us about your magic, who you are?
Thank you. And so my name is Sheila Marina, and I am from Ontario, Canada. And I have an energy healing business operating out of my home. And I teach Reiki, and I also practice the emotion code, the body code, and the belief code, which is helping people to release things from the subconscious mind. And I'm just really excited to be here tonight. Thanks.
Amazing, Sheila. Welcome. So good. Welcome to the audience and the people who are watching online. And we've got two ladies who are in the Zoom room with us, Janet and Ellen. Welcome. So I'm going to start the interview with some really powerful questions here. And I'm so excited to hear your wisdom, Jen, Rolly, Sarah, and Sheila. So the first question, I've written them down in the chat, so it might be easier for you. You know, sometimes they're deep, and you know the brain cannot really absorb the depth of it, and in the moment. The first question is, how would you describe your super consciousness, or some people call it your divine self? You know, your higher self, the part of you that's infinitely intelligent and wise and knows everything. So, how would you describe your higher self, your super consciousness? So, I'm going to start with Jen Smith.
All right, so I get the first one here. Well, I would describe the higher self, the super consciousness as that infinite part, that divine part of me that holds the truth of who I am. So it's the full expression, and it's unbound by fear, it's unbound by time or programming, because a lot of the inner work has to do with letting go of all the programming that we've been through. So it's the part of me that's always connected to source and speaks in that frequency of love, clarity, and purpose. I would say also that it's more than just a concept, because it's a lived relationship. I mean, that's how we live. It's the guiding intelligence, and that's leading with integrity, manifesting with alignment, and then serving others from that space of divine truth.
No, I love that, Jen. Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, really beautiful. Thank you for your share, your wise words. And I'm going to go to Rolly, Alaire. How would you describe your super consciousness, Rolly, or your higher self, your divine self?
So it's energy, it's light. And so one of the things that really kind of like hones in on that belief for me, or that energy, is that my son was in Catholic school, and one of the things is that the teacher had asked him to draw an image of like, what would God be like if you were to draw God, what would that look like? And Casey was struggling with a little bit about some of that. And so, without having a conversation with the boys about what was going on or anything like that, or what I was believing or what I was like experiencing, is that he come home and I said, okay, so the teacher said you had some difficulty with this assignment, kiddo. So what did you end up drawing? And he drew images of light. And so like it was that light energy being and surrounding. And so that has always been that reminder of what that is for me. It's that light and that energy and that thing that's going on that way.
I love that. Like kids know, they know, children knows, you know, they're so wise. Yeah, beautiful. What a beautiful analogy. Thanks for sharing, Rolly. I'm gonna go to lovely Sarah, the Italian lady, with your wisdom. How would you describe your super consciousness, your higher self, Sarah?
So I could describe how it looked to me. I was in a guided meditation with a Scottish channeler who I met over TikTok, and she guided me up to the Akashic records, which was really cool to experience. And then when I saw myself as the higher, I guess, super conscious, I was this awesome kind of being. I didn't see my face, but I was just ginormous. And I had this awesome purple robe, like white kind of down the front. And I think all the sort of higher dimensional beings that were around me were like, yeah, we know who you are. You're cool. So I think of this kind of master soul in the higher realms that's all knowing, and it kind of oversees all the other sort of fragments of our soul. Is how I best understand it. And since time is in the now and we have infinite moments, infinite timelines, infinite experiences, it's kind of overseeing all of it at once. And I like how we are now getting more and more tuned to our higher guidance, whether we're speaking to source or our spirit guides or our higher self. And it's like a soft, still knowing that's just highly wise and very grounded. And it always guides you right. So I think every day is a great day to continue to build that relationship with your higher self.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing that. Piece of wisdom and awareness. Powerful. I'm gonna go to the next one is Sheila. Where is she? Is she gone? She disappeared. Ah, okay. I think she had a little issue with her internet there in a retreat center. She
Oh,
is.
I
Oh,
think
she's
she's
coming
coming
back.
back in now,
She's
Jenny.
coming back. Is she back yet? Sheila, she's back. Okay, Sheila, would you what's your take on how would you describe your super consciousness, your divine self?
Thanks. Well, I guess just kind of like a quiet, steady flame, like that just kind of takes good care of me, I guess. That whenever I'm feeling or I have any kind of situation, and one of my clients are in a situation, um, I trust that my higher self is here to take care of everything, and that my goal is to just kind of stay grounded inside and like my inner knowing that guides me with clarity, like even when my human self feels uncertain, and then I just tune in to kind of through Reiki or through meditation and trust that it's always in my highest favor.
Beautiful. Yeah, thanks for your share, Sheila. Gorgeous. Yeah, the flame always burning inside. I love that. So the second question I have for you, ladies, is what does that mean to you to be fully authentic and to really speak your truth? What does that mean to you to be authentic and to speak your truth? I'm gonna go with Jen. Jen,
All right.
please.
So I think what being fully authentic and speaking my truth is really speaking from that quiet voice, that divine mind, really being in the presence of the situation that you're in and speaking from that heart space center. And I know that through my healing and through my journey, I've learned that speaking the truth isn't always comfortable, but it's always liberating because whether people can understand it or not, that's not for us to know. We just have to carry that frequency and speak the truth so people can feel it. So whether I'm guiding a client or, leading a master class or just sharing my voice online, I try to let that inner alignment lead and try to let go of the external expectations. And I've learned a lot of this through some of my deep work, some of my deep initiations throughout my journey with Reiki and Avesa and sacred ancient codes and galactic wisdom. And those truths, they carry a frequency and you can feel it. You can feel it in your heart center. You can feel it through your body. So that's what speaking, authentically means to me.
Yeah, wow, yeah. We'll talk about the body. The body is certainly a really good barometer, a really good instrument to pick up on, whether we're aligned or we're off track, or the butterfly in the tummy and all the things. I mean, there's a lot of signs that we're going to talk about that. Yeah. I love that, Jen. Thank you for your view on being authentic and speaking truth. All right, all right. I'm gonna go to Rolly Allaire in Canada. What does that mean to you, Rolly, to be fully authentic and to really express your truth?
So for me, it's something that I had to learn, because growing up was not something that wasn't something that was safe to do. So being authentic, being true to who you were, was not something that was safe. We grew up in a very dysfunctional functional home, and there was like so many things that just didn't allow us to be who we were. And so being able to learn how to be authentic was very scary. It was something that I needed to learn that balance of versus being um, aggressive versus being able to share coming from a good place. And so it took a long time, and sometimes depending on the circumstances of what's going on in life, sometimes I kind of weave back in and out of that, in and out of that. But being able to be truly authentic to who I am. So one of the things, and it's not showing right now in my camera or in my thing, is that typically I actually have my spirit name that I share, which is Gigudo Migwen Kwe. And so really being able to be in that authentic piece of who I am is really important. And so just being able to have um, that ability of being able to share coming from a good place, and but also when it's uncomfortable. So it's also being able to say, yeah, I'm not okay with that, or no, I disagree with that. Whereas that was not necessarily something that would have been allowed, because we were to be seen and not heard, in a lot of instances. And be able to have that ability of being able to share. So lots of new learning for me in
Mhm.
my later years.
Yeah, that's huge. I really resonate and relate to you, Rolly, in that regard. Like, yeah, it didn't feel safe for me either, like to speak my truth at all. Actually, my truth was not valued, recognized, acknowledged. And you know what I mean? So I totally relate. And it is a learn, and it's an ongoing learning. We've got our human, we've got a super consciousness, we've got our badasses, our sovereign being, our invincible, unshakable self, I'd say. And we have our little person, our little inner child, or our human, conditioned and programmed, that we spend a lifetime to. It's like a dance, it's a dance. It's like, oh, now I'm human. Oh, now I'm in my juju, my true self. It's like it's a real dance to me. So yeah, I hear you completely there, Rolly. And I'm just curious, what's your Indian name, Native American Indian name? It sounds a bit complex. Can you repeat it and tell us
So
what it
it's
means? What it
it
means? Does it mean anything?
so yeah, it does. So Gigado Migwen Kwe is my full name.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people will just say, "Hey, Gigado," and it's like, but that means just talking.
Okay.
So it means talking feather woman. So Gigado is talking,
Yeah.
Migwen is feather, and Kwe is woman. So when
Ah.
I have my full name up, people often will say, "Hey, Gigado," and it's like, okay, hello, yes, I'm talking. But yeah, that's my spirit name and what the
Oh my
meaning of it
gosh,
is.
this is so relevant to, your path and your purpose. Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. And now we're going to go to Sarah for the second question. What does that mean to you, Sarah, being fully authentic and speaking your truth?
The first thing that comes to mind, since I lived 20 plus years in New York City, is being real. The term we say in the city, you're being real. And what does that mean to me is, it feels, as what Jen is saying, it's a resonance. And you may not know the truth, but you're honest about what you think you know and what you don't know. And you speak without any sort of fear of the external world trying to shut you down and saying you're stupid or be quiet or or mansplain, right? Tell you no, 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 this is how it is, things like that. So it's really a connection to within, a resonance, and a knowing, a higher knowing to your higher power. You're being real. You may not know who you are, and that's the journey in life. We discover who we are over time, but it's a feeling, and it's a an ability to just let it go and be as true as you feel.
I love that. Can you repeat the three things? How you know, the feeling, the knowing? You did it with your body as well. You showed us the places. I love that.
It's a connection within. It's a
Yeah.
connection within. It's a flow, and
Mm,
it's an honesty, and it's being truthful. I know it or I don't, but I'm telling you what I feel and what feels right to me without the fear of repercussion or being told to be quiet.
beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Our true nature knows, yeah, what our true yeses and our F no's. Our F yeses and our F no's. Very good, ladies, wise women. I love being with wise women. It's my favorite place to be. Now we're gonna go to Sheila Marina. What is it for you? What does that mean to you to be fully authentic and to speak your truth?
Well, I actually really appreciate this question.
Yeah.
22 years ago, I had my first experience with Reiki, and the lady kept telling me, "Oh, your guides keep telling you to speak your truth." And I had never heard of guides, and it was all a brand new experience to me. And in fact, uh, because I wasn't following through, my Reiki master asked me to stop coming until I could begin to listen to the guides. So I went to the bookstore and I bought a book 22 years ago, How to Speak Your Truth. And it's just been set me on a journey.
Yeah.
And so now here I am, an energy healer, and on this beautiful podcast with all of you, this panel discussion, being able to talk about what it means to me. So it's really come full circle. So it means like being fully authentic, like allowing my inner world to be seen and shared, like without performance or apology. This is me.
Mm.
And it's not about expressing opinions or speaking from that deep well of that lived truth. I think it's a lot easier now that the 22 years has gone by and I've lived a little bit. So now I do have a truth. But it's really sacred because it doesn't mean anything about being loud or confrontational or having to be right.
Mm.
It can be just a whisper from the heart that's honest and that's rooted and that's real. So I really thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to express my truth in this question. Thanks.
Oh, I feel you. I feel your genuineness. Yeah. And I love that. Sheila, thank you for, yeah, it's very moving, circling back. There's some questions like that sometimes, or topic that they really speak to our hearts. And I can feel that it's the case here for you. And I love that the word sacred. Yeah, actually, our truth is sacred, and I think it should be taught at school. We should learn that from a very young age that our true nature is sacred. Our real yeses, our real no's, what we feel, what we desire, our vision, and our humanness, our fears, and whatever that is true for us in that moment. We should learn that from a very young age, and it should be part of the curriculum, really. It is sacred. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to the third question, juicy one again. How do you know if you're in your ego, if you're in your ego structure, or if you're in your true nature? How do you make the distinction. Now, how do you know? For yeah, I'm gonna go with I'm keep spinning with, you know, spinning that wheel. Jen Smith.
Well, I think it's all about the energy. It's all about the conscious awareness too, the awareness of where we're at, how you're feeling. So that again, that energy, the difference in your body is one way that I can tell. But when things are feeling like really rushed, or there's overthinking involved, um, maybe being really concerned about outcomes, trying to control situations, that's whenever I know that it's more from the ego structure. And that's usually driven by fear or doubt, or again, the old programming, the old paradigms, the old life scripts, those older set points. And that's a great way, whenever you become aware of that, it's a great learning opportunity to say, what is this? What is this fear or doubt about? And then overcome that. But whenever you, on the other side, whenever you know, speaking from your true nature, it's feeling that connection. And that connection to me feels very calm. The energy just flows. It feels expansive in the heart area. It's very clear. So, and just trusting that unfolding. So, you know, I think what I've learned, and what I've taught myself is how to observe the thoughts that we're thinking, and and shifting that vibration. And that's really leading like from the inside out, instead of observing the outside world and moving forward in that way. So the ego usually wants to do it right, that perfectionist. And then the true nature, the divine nature, wants to be in truth and wants to embody the awareness, wants to be in that presence, and wants to be in that flow. So that's how I would explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for your wise words. Yeah, it's a dance. I find that it's a constant dance. But what I resonated, the pace that you shared is the control freak in us, and the perfectionist side of our ego. They're part of our ego, and for me, it's like, yeah, sometimes like, yeah, the control, you know, controlling the outcome, or being too attached to the result that we desire. That can kind of block the energy. Whereas when we lead purpose, you know, we're creating something, and it's coming from the heart, it's coming from our true nature. To me, the true nature is really connected to the heart. Like, it's the heart. Intuition is the heart, and true nature is the heart. So when the heart is open, and we're coming from that divine intelligence from the heart, everything flows, you know. Or if there's a hiccups, like at the beginning, I couldn't get my background, my Zoom background. I was like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr," and you know, like the letting go, and just going with the flow, even if the flow is not what your ego wants. You go with it. You roll with it. So yeah, thank you for your share, Jen. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna go to Rolly Allaire. Please share your wisdom, Rolly, about how do you know for yourself when you're in your ego and when you're in your true nature? Any signs you
So
get?
so very similar to what Jen was talking about.
Yeah.
And so I always refer to that as my type A. So my type A so if I'm in that type A energy, then I'm tense, and I'm like trying to get things going exactly the way that I need to. And sometimes we need to be in that ego so that we can get things done. So so being able to get like, so in my background is the trailer in my bedroom, and so trying to make sure that I've got all the things going, and I keep covering up my shirt, because I had my grandbaby who puked on my shirt just before coming on. And so it's like, hey, just keep covering up. And so like, but that's my type A. Whereas if I was in my true nature, it would be like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that that my background is the back of the trailer bedroom. And because that's just that's where I'm living and what it is that's going on. But because it's video is the only reason why I'm making sure that all of this is here. But that's that type A part of me, of like wanting to make sure. And for me, when I'm going into that type A, it doesn't feel comfortable because it's that that rigidness of all the things that I needed to do while I was growing up. So I still do like some structure. The structure is still important, but when I'm in my true nature, it's that flow and allowing things to be able to just be. Um, Actually, that's exactly it. Allowing things to just be, right? So just being in that space. I do that with my grandson. I will be doing that with my granddaughter as she gets older. And so I do that with my other kids that are around. And it's like it's just really important to just be in that moment and be in that energy. And not get stuck in those in that rigidness. And I think that that's probably the best way to describe it, is the rigid, like the ego is rigid and so necessary. So when we're driving, that ego is important for us to be in. But when we are at home and I'm making dinner or whatever, it's being in that true nature, just being in that space and in that energy.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Yeah, yeah, the ego is, I resonate with that piece, that the ego can be really rigid, yeah, and as Jen was saying, controlling, and you say rigid, I mean, it's the tightness of the fear. It's like when we have tension in our body, you know, we get tense in our body. It's often a contraction is a fear. Like giving birth, these contraction is like holding on and then expanding. And yeah, the true nature allows us to expand, you know, there's like an opening and a softening. And yeah, really beautiful. Thank you so much, Rolly, for your share. And Sarah Ruchizano.
I like this question because this is exactly what I explored in my book that's coming out
Oh,
later this year. Yeah, I actually have a section. I think it's chapter 12, if I'm not mistaken. After ceremony one, part of my book describes my 7 ayahuasca ceremonies in the Amazon rainforest with the Shipibo shamans. And I learned a lot working with the medicine. And one of it was about ego. And I realized that it's a dance, right, between free will and predeterminism. We are part of Creator, and we are also separate and independent in the three-dimensional Earth world that we're in at the moment, the realm. So if we just surrender to the unfolding, to the Creator, and just sit around and eat bonbons and just say, all right, it's going to happen, right? You actually have to put in the work. You got to get things done. So that's why ego is important,
yeah.
because it gives you ownership, even though really you give it to God, take it to God, and believe in the unfolding for your benefit. You still got to do the work. You still got to show up. And in order to do that, you are tricked, right? The ego takes responsibility. I did this. It's mine. I'm proud of it. And that's the ego structure I think of. But at the same time, the trick is it's all of the above, right? We are God. We're one.
Mhm.
But the ego itself, the identity, likes to take ownership. So it's really when you're accepting an award, are you going to say, I thank me or I thank God, right? It's all of the above. I thank us all because together we created something and we should be proud of it, that we have a connection and we can create. So that's what I think about an ego structure. It is an important thing to have, but when it's on overdrive, that's when, I think there's problems.
Yeah, yeah, so much wisdom in that. Yeah, I love the way you describe it. It's makes it really tangible, you know. It's yeah, the ego serves its purpose. We wouldn't have an ego, you know. I mean, it's there for a reason. So it's there to serve. It's what we do with it, really. Well, how we um how we navigate our boat with our true nature. And yeah, I love to see it as a dance. But yeah, it's beautiful, and we're excited for your book. You're going to share at the end the title and when it's going to be released out in the world. Hopefully it'll come to Australia. With the digital world, we should be able to um, read your book. Okay, very good. Now we're going to go to Sheila Marina. What about you, Sheila? How do you know if you're in your ego or in your true nature?
Thanks. I think when I'm in my true nature,
Yeah.
and actually another great story was that the first time I actually felt really alive and true was when I was in nature. It was a very long time ago. I went for a hike in a park and I felt like the trees were talking to me.
Oh,
And I felt so natural, like this is where I should be. And I felt so robust and so alive. And so, being in the ego to me feels very much like being constricted, like trying to control the outcome, looking for approval. Your energy becomes just really tight. And I think you just know because everything's energy, frequency, and vibration. And when you're in ego, your body's vibrating at a rate that's a little bit too much. And when you're in your true nature, your body's vibrating with ease, with grace. It's very peaceful.
mm,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I'm a fan of trees as well. They whisper to me. I talk to them. I love trees. Yeah, that's great. I love that, Sheila. It's beautiful. So we're gonna accelerate our pace. We've got three more questions, and I'd love for you ladies to share your, how can people connect with you if you have any offerings and all that sort of jazz. So the question number 4, I mean, it's similar, but let's sort of focus a bit more business because we're all business women here on a purpose and on a mission. How do you know if you're in your truth again, but when you're actually creating a program, a new program, a course or a project, a business project that is really dear to your heart? How do you know if it's an alignment, say, or if it's in your truth? Okay, that's the question. Jen Smith.
Yeah, I think this is very similar, the feelings as I answered on the last question. I always take about an hour in the morning to just kind of sit and ask for guidance.
Mm,
And a lot of that inspiration comes through then. And when you're in alignment with truth, it feels like an impulse, like an anchor. It anchors into you like a vibration, yet like a full body yes. I hear people describe it as a full body yes.
mhm.
And it feels like it's just the ideas are just flowing to you very easily. So it's not a forced project, but it's more of an inspirational project, something that you would still be enjoy working on, that's still in alignment with what your main work is, what your main service is to people. And it's a certain rhythm to it. And it's a peaceful feeling and it's exciting. So the ideas flow. And when you're in that sort of project, the ideas flowing and you start to move them forward with action, then, the people that you need to help, they appear. And there's just that feeling of the inner yes and a knowing. Um, yeah, and if you're trying to push things through, it can feel very heavy trying to get projects done. That's just not in alignment with your true vision or not in alignment with the co-creation of how things should be.
Yeah,
So when I get these inspirations, I just check the why, and if the purpose, the service is in alignment and that I know I'm on track, then I go through with it. That doesn't always mean that all the actions you're going to take from that inspiration and that divine alignment are going to be easy. Sometimes you take the action so you can, get to the vision that's there. You
sure.
still have to work through them.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you there. Yeah, for sure. I guess, yeah, again, it's like not the forcing, it's like not pushing and forcing. For me, it's really, I love that, Jen. Thank you for you share your wisdom. I feel like for me, it has to be fun. You can probably feel in my vibe. I'm a voice activator. I'm a joy activator. This is my true nature. I love to play. If I'm not going to have fun and it doesn't excite me and there's no play involved in the creation, in the project, I'm not there. So I know that's how I know personally. If it has to be elevating, fun, playful, creative. So these are my signs. If it's too serious, I'm not part of the I'm not part of the game. Yeah, this is great. Okay, Rolly, what about you? How do you know when you create a new program, a new podcast, a new course that is dear to your heart? How do you know if it's aligned, if it's true to you?
So the first thing that came to mind was it's easy.
Easy.
And so everything, it's just easy, it flows. So for example, my very first retreat, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and wrote out all of the things that um the download that I had as to like how I was going to be doing my retreat and what was going to happen during my retreat. And then I had to fine tune it and do like all the things, but it was like that initial, like, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be a 3-day event and this is what's going to happen. We're going to have people coming in at this time. We're going to have our meals planned together. And so like, that's been the base of my foundation for my women's retreats that I do. But it's been that, but anytime that I know that I'm on track is that it just flows. It's like I just, like it's a verbal or written diarrhea of all the things that feel good. So like, it's diarrhea is not the best word to use, but it's that like, it just purges, it just comes out, and it just feels good. And it's like, okay, I don't have to think about it. And it's like, but if I have to put a lot of thinking into it, then I know that I'm in ego and I'm not in that flow of being in that true nature. But it's like, it literally just flows, it just comes out, and I know that this is what it is that I'm doing. And so when I have to like do a lot of thinking, then it's like I have to take a step back and say, okay, is this really what I need to be doing? um and because if it doesn't have that flow, then I'm not going to enjoy it anyway, and I'm not going to want to do it. So yeah, so for me it's about flow and just being in that know and in that heart space.
Yeah. Like Jen was saying, forcing, yeah, see the thinking, the overthinking, like a forcing piece, because uh, uh, like what you say, beautiful, you mentioned a few times the word flow, the energy of flow. So flow is when you receive, when you're in your feminine and you're receiving the information. So you don't have to look for it with your brain. It comes to you effortlessly. It's like you're magnetic to it because you're so in alignment that it just God or your guides or your angels, you receive the inspiration and the next piece of the action, the inspired action you need to take, as opposed to forcing and thinking and trying to work it out and figuring it out. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Rolly. Beautiful Sarah, what about you? How do you know if you're in alignment, if you're in your truth when you create a new, like your book, say, or that is dear to your heart? How do you know?
That was going to be my answer when I wrote the book.
Yeah.
Because I started writing the book May 2022. So I just finished it this past June, and actually 2 Junes ago, but now we're finishing up the editing. It's in proofreading right now. But when I hit the breaking point of my old career, and I surrendered and I said, that's it, I'm going to write a book. I had no plan, as I've mentioned in maybe some prior podcasts here. But I know that old world wasn't working. And that old world was corporate America, it was Wall Street, it was a lot of like, and the busyness and the disorganization and the confusion and the ego and, the overruling of things and not being in the know about what's going on. So your head hurt and it was just frustration. And it was always something that was just draining your energy. You're constantly exhausted, burnout sort of feeling. But when I started writing my book, that was a totally different experience. I was happy. I was committed. I would get up every morning and I would write and focus, and it was like my full-time job. Maybe sometimes 12 hours a day, just really being in the organization, the collection, the kind of thinking, and a flow, right? A channeling almost. And I never had writer's block, all 115,000 words that I wrote, and then the reviews and the constant kind of editing work and whatnot. But it's almost like you kind of get into this channel state and you can kind of see it and feel it and know it, and it just comes through. And not once did I feel like I was in that old world of frustration and just disjointed energy and just not being happy. So that's when I know for sure I was in my truth when creating a project. And because I put the stake in the sand and said, I'm going to write a book, now I'm writing a transformational series and I'm building a business around it and a brand. And public speaking came as a result because I needed a way to start marketing the book. So I got on stage and I haven't stopped. So it's a flow and it's so much different than who I was when I was wearing those suits in New York City.
Oh my gosh, what a transformation. Woohoo! Bravo. Yeah, well, that's exciting. You just you expressing it, you light up your body. Like when you know, it's an embodied transformation. It's really beautiful to witness, really. Wow, bright future for you. I mean, right here, right now is already really exciting. Yeah, great. I love that for you, Sarah. Thank you for your enthusiasm and wisdom here. So, okay, we've got 15 minutes, ladies. All right, so next is Sheila. What about you, Sheila? How do you know if you're in alignment in your truth when you create a new program or course or project that is really dear to your heart? Where's she? Is she there?
Like everyone.
Is she
Yeah.
there?
You hear me okay?
I can hear you. We can't see you. We see a
Yeah.
beautiful photo of you, but we can't. We can hear you.
I use the camera if I stop the video. Let's try again. So the camera is on my side, but I really
Oh, she's gone. Okay. I'm going to keep going because time is ticking. All right, we lost Sheila. We're going to keep going with the question number 5. What are the signs in your body that are telling you, we were talking about that before, like in your, in your physicality, in your body, you getting any sign when you're on track, really living on purpose, really living your truth? Like, do you get any form of signs in your sexy body, ladies? Jen.
Yeah, I think this is the main thing. Our body always tells us what's going on, right? So it's an instrument of our mind that tells us exactly what's going on with us. So it's the it's the feedback system for me. And as I
Mm.
mentioned earlier, just when I'm aligned, you feel that you feel open, you feel energized, you feel that heart space, just the energy from that. It's very peaceful. It's an inner calmness. So that's whenever I know I'm on track with things. Your throat's clear, intuition flows. It could be ideas, it could be vibrations through the ears, it could be all sorts of an intuitive gifts coming through, letting you know that you're in tune with life.
So
And
when you,
also just on
yeah,
the,
sorry to
go
interrupt,
ahead.
but when you receive that gift, how does that feel in your physicality, in your body? When you receive intuition, where do you feel that in your body?
I feel it several different places. So whenever I'm present, I just wait for, I just feeling the guidance. So
Mm.
sometimes it could be frequencies through my ears, which lets me know what's going on, depending on what the tone is and if it's left or right. Sometimes it's flashes of visions, and sometimes it's just the feeling in the body itself. So if it's just a calm and peaceful feeling, the energy's flowing freely and that information's flowing correctly. But if
Mm.
you have any sort of discomfort in your body, it lets you know, uh-oh, something's not quite right here.
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. really the body is such a powerful instrument to tell us, if everything in our subconscious or any past things that are events that have not been resolved, they can come up to the surface as we grow, right? As we expand, as we take more space with our purpose. Yeah, for sure. Great. Thank you. Rolly, what about you? Do you receive any signs in your body that are telling you whether you're on track or whether you're off track?
So the very first thing that I thought about was that hell yes and hell no.
Yeah.
And so it's like in my body, I get that energy of like, yes, that feels really good, or oh God, no, that doesn't feel really good. And so, and like Jen, it's not in one particular spot in my body. It's just that full resonating. So depending on what it is, sometimes it's in my solar plexus, sometimes it's in my sacral chakra, sometimes it's in my heart chakra. It just kind of all depends on what it is. So like if it's something to do with my grandkids, for example, then it's like in my heart. So like I feel that like yes, I will do it. Or it's in that and if it's a no, a lot of times it's like lots of tension in my back or in my shoulders, or that kind of thing. But it's, yeah, so it's like that hell yes and hell no. Like there's not really any maybes. Like it's either yes or no. When somebody asks me the question, I will be able to answer a yes or a no. And so that's and I think that's also part of my human design. So that's something that's really helpful for me, is that like it's that somebody asks me the question and is it a yes or is it a no? Like I can feel it specifically. So if I'm kind of on the fence about something, I will ask somebody to ask me the question for me to be able to get that body response.
Wow. What are you in the human design, Rolly?
I'm a generator.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I am generator too.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, great. Thank you. What about you, Sarah?
So I think about it this way. I used to play sports as an athlete, played basketball, soccer, softball, and I ran the New York City Marathon. So I did a lot of running in the city to train. And I also did a lot of quantitative homework when I was an engineering student. So worked a lot in Excel, did a lot of like math problems and logic. So I think about it that way when you're in the flow. When you're playing sports, it's game time, or you have to get a problem solved. There's almost like an awareness that comes over you. It's like you're in the flow. It's reactionary now. It's not thinking, you have the peripheral vision that's now kind of happening. You're not really focused per se on something. You're kind of like I'm doing it right now. I'm thinking spatially out here now. I'm closing my eyes and I'm seeing it. I'm envisioning almost like, okay, it goes here, it moves here. Let's about this. Okay, there, here. And when I remember my coach when I was playing softball, we were one of the best teams in New England and won a bunch of state championships. So we were a very good team and the stakes were always high. And I remember my coach always at third base, third base coach yelling at me saying, Roxy, react, don't think, when I was up at the plate, because it's fast pitch softball and you have, 60 feet before you can, get the bat in and swing. So you can't think when you're up at the plate, and it's pressure to kind of get hit and get on base. So that's what it is. You almost have to like relent to the situation and trust that I know my reaction's going to know what to do without overthinking. And I'm in the flow, I'm in a peripheral, I'm in a spatial. I'm not aware, I'm not overthinking, I'm not getting, second guessing, I'm not thinking negatively. I'm just doing it, man. I'm going. I'm going to get it done. And there's a positivity with that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, yeah, it's good analogy as well with the sports, Sports very physical. We're in the body. We're fully in the body when we play sports, for sure. Great. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate that. Sheila, she's back. What about you, Sheila? Question number 5. What are the signs in your body when you are on track, living your truth, and when you're off track?
Okay. Well, I know I guess, I feel a sensation inside of my ears, like a kind of a pulsing. And that's how I know I'm kind of in my truth, and that everything, my guides are with me. And, I feel light and open. and just breathing freely. And when I'm off track, it's like a heaviness on my shoulders. So I've learned to listen to those signals, and I kind of the body does let us know when we're in our truth. So when I notice that I'm kind of hunched forward, there's got to be a reason for that. So I just kind of open up into the expansiveness and just kind of allow, and it really helps me in that way, to be more of an honest guide. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for your share, Sheila. It's just that your line is a little bit cuckoo because you keep disappearing and cutting off. But we got the most of your share, which is beautiful. Thank you. Okay, well, last question. The cherry on the top of the sundae. How do you practice being intimate? That's it, sexy, no. Honest and fully transparent with yourself and others, yet staying in your power. How do you stay in your power, yet being, fully transparent and honest with yourself and with others? Jen.
Yeah, I think the real transparency has to start within, like
Yeah.
really being transparent with ourselves, right? That's where we do all of the inner work. That's where we go deep within and just really be transparent with ourselves. And I think that's really important to grow, to get through limited beliefs and paradigms that we've been taught, and to really get to the truth of who we are, to that remembrance. And then from there, once we do all of that inner work, then I think it's really a time where we can share with others. And I try to share from like a grounded place, and trying to share with not seeking validation, but just letting our frequency carry that out to people and without attachment, and let it be received however it needs to be received. So it's not, the power is not really controlling anything. It's just being fully rooted in who I am. So that's, yeah, that's how I would describe that for me, the transparency.
Great. Amazing. Everyone's, we all have our uniqueness, and yeah, it's beautiful. What about you, Rolly? How do you practice
For me, it really is just not worrying about what other people think. And so that's easier said than done. Because like there was lots of judgment and things like that I needed to overcome. But it really is, and this is one of the things, the feedback that I get from my clients is that you're real. And so if I'm having a bad day, you're going to know that I'm having a bad day because I'm not perfect. If I am having if I'm having a good day, then you're going to get to be part of that moment as well. And so I really just I've just really learned to, for the most part, because again, that ego sometimes clicks in, but for the most part, I've learned to just be who I am and not worry about what other people think. And so a really good example would be last night, when we had a call. It was a business meeting, business women's meeting program thing that was going on last night. And that was one of the questions, is like, oh, okay, well, we were talking about marketing, and I don't like salesy marketing. I don't like the sending me messages in my inbox. And that was one of the feedback. And it was like, that was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. That's not happening. I'm not sending a message to anyone. If they want to check out what it is that I'm doing, then they'll reach out to me and I will be more than happy to, but that's a hell no. Like, it's just not going to happen. And when I first started in business, it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, yeah, sure, maybe I'll think about it, or maybe I'll do it. But my gut was telling me hell no. And last night, it was very much, I was able to on my own say, hell no, that's not happening. I'm not messaging. And I know that it's a connection message that they were looking for, that they were suggesting. But to me, still, is if they're interested, they're going to reach out to me. I am not reaching out to them just because they've commented on my post or on my video or anything like that. If they're interested, I will continue the conversation there, but I will not send them an inbox. That's just not going to happen.
That's very clear. Okay, that's very honest and transparent right there. Thank you, Rolly. What about you, Sarah?
So I'm going to focus on the words practice, intimate, and yourself to answer the question. I think, how do I practice the intimacy of connecting with myself from an authentic, stance, power stance? And I think how I practice it is two things. One is journaling. So I have about 30 journals I've now have over the course of 20 plus years, traveling the world, being on subways in New York City, my commute, to Park Avenue, on planes, trains, automobiles, you name it. Always writing, always kind of documenting what's going on in my life and how I'm feeling in those moments. And then I always go back every so often and I'll reread my journals, even those from like 15 years ago. And I'll remember how I felt. I'll remember that moment. I'll like, oh yeah, that felt so overwhelming back then. It felt so like the world was coming to an end. And now I know the more, the yada yada yada, the end of the story. I'm reading it right now, 15 years later, and I've overcome it. I've persevered. I don't feel that way anymore. So that's a practice. It's helping me kind of gauge. It's a relative sort of comparator. And I know now that I feel in my power because I got through it. I could persevere. I'm stronger. I'm resilient. I know what to do next time I see something like this. So that's the practice. That's the intimacy with myself. I also have the same when I go on a spirit walk in the morning. I'll wake up, I'll bring my drum sometimes. I'll connect with the land. I walk to the top of a hill, I go to the bottom, I say my gratitudes, turn around, walk back up to that hill and walk right back down. And I'll see the birds and the sky and whatever had happened, along the side of the road and some neighbors and the school bus and whatever. But I will remember that, oh yeah, I felt crummy at this part of the walk yesterday. I was really crying at this part. I felt overwhelmed. And look at me, I'm joyous today. I don't feel the same exact way I felt yesterday. So again, it's a gauge, just like the journal. It's a relative kind of data point. And it helps me be intimate and aware and be in my power as part of my practice. So that's how I feel is the right way to answer that question for me.
Yeah, it's great. Having something practical and exercise. It's like going towards embodying the next version of yourself, like your future self. Yeah, I do journaling as well. Journaling is super powerful, and it indicates. I mean, you can journal about what doesn't feel good, but being honest, but also about like all your desires and visions. Really powerful. Being in nature, being connected to the things you love. So that brings you to your true self, to your honesty. Beautiful. And what about you, Sheila? How do you practice being intimate with yourself and transparent with yourself and others and staying in your power at the same time?
Thanks. So for me, it really begins with a commitment to self-passion. I spend a lot of time using supportive language. A lot of times in my earlier years, I would be quite self-critical, and there's no sense for that to be. That's too much in ego, in judgment, and that when I'm connected to my inner truth, then that is what speaks to me. And so I usually do that by positive self-talk, and it really is very helpful for me on that side. And so it's really not about being right, but it's kind of just about being kind and about being connected.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Self-compassion, yeah, it's a big one, isn't it? Yeah, beautiful, ladies. Well, this is the end of our panel today. So, on a quick note, if you would love to share where people can connect with your energy, we can connect with your offerings, short and sweet. We're going to go around the circle again. Thank you for your epic wisdom, for your, for being open, for being vulnerable, for being courageous, for being you. I really love this conversation. I really love this topic, and we got to know you better, see who you are and what you are doing in the world, which is amazing, to be on purpose, living your mission. I think it takes so much courage to write books and be on stage and be on panels. It's remarkable. So I bow to your courage. Amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Jen, where can people find you?
Well, my company's name is Natural Energy Healing. So
Yeah.
I have everything at my website, www.naturalenergyhealing.life,
Yep.
where I can do healings, distant healings. I do have a free master class coming up from June 24th to the 26th, an hour daily, and it's called Discover Your Illuminated Path. It's free. Just register on my website, and we would love to see people there. We talk about mindset and divinity and all sorts of beautiful things.
Amazing, Jen Smith. Thank you for that masterclass. And yeah, amazing. So I guess all the links will be below the videos. It'll be on YouTube, on Facebook, all over the place. So the audience who is watching the replay or watching live, you'll be able to connect with all these beautiful ladies. And yeah, an abundance of choices here. So what about you, Rolly? How can people connect with you?
So I have my website, but it is being revamped. So there's a lot of things that are not on the website, but they will be.
Yeah.
But it's rollyalaire.ca. And so that is a good place to at least find a contact to be able to send me an email or something like that. But one of the things that I like to be able to invite people to join us is on Friday evenings in the western side of the world, or eastern side, we east or west, I don't even know if we're east or west, but in Canada land, so on Eastern time. And then so it's 6 p.m. on Eastern time, but 8 a.m. the next day in Australia side. So we do moon medicine circles through Sacred You, so you could actually through Sacred You be able to have access to that. But I do a number of different things. August 1st is the launch of my book called Wisdom Cycles, which is also my my main program. That I have that whole feeling of flow, and so the launch is going to be August 1st, and so yeah, so that's
Ooh,
me.
lots of lunches, lots of books, lots of juiciness. What about you, Sarah? What's the easiest way to connect with you?
You can go on emboldenadventures.com, EMBOLDEN adventures.com. And if you sign up for the listserv, you can get a free gift, which is the prologue to my book that's coming out later this year. The book's name is Stone Temple Passport, Awake and Radiate with Mama Ayahuasca. It's part of an Embolden Adventures transformational series, true story travel adventure, written by yours truly, me. 100% real story about transformation. So it's an excellent book. I'm very proud of it, and it's coming out soon. So you'll check it out, stonetemplepassport.com. But the website is not up yet, the real one anyway. And Embolden Adventures is going through a rebranding, so you'll see soon a new and improved Embolden Adventures website showcasing the pillars: Sarah Racasano speaking, the Be Emboldened program, and Embolden Adventures Publishing, which is where Stone Temple Passport is born.
Amazing, Sarah. Well done. Thank you so much for that. All the best with it. And what about you, Sheila? What's the best and easiest way to connect with you, Sheila Marina?
Thank you. Through my website at planetofpeace.org, and also on my social media. I'm on most of the platforms. I have provided 60 guided meditations, one for each of the trapped emotions in the emotion code. And I think that's been pretty valuable to people. So I'm very proud of that one.
Yay! Yay, bravo. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for watching. And thank you for, yeah, it was my first facilitating, as a facilitator. Woohoo! I feel I nailed it. And it was such a joy to connect with all your beautiful hearts and, yeah, get to know you. And thank you for your big pieces of wisdom and your big heart. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sacred You, for this amazing platform. And thank you to the audience for watching. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Anik. Our really, really true. What a wonderful panel that you facilitated. Incredible. Before we go, we've had people watching us and we've got a comment that beautiful conversation, ladies. Specifically love the questions around ego. This could be explored more deeply. I'm feeling into the question, did you come with ego or was it formed, created by our environment and experiences in our life? That is another conversation. I think you're just going to have to come back and do another one. Thank you for facilitating this. Thank you, Jen, Rowley, Sarah, and Sheila for joining us. Janet and Ellen, who has been in the audience. I'm not going to go into everything because we are over time, except, Nick, I've got one quick question for you before we end. For everyone out there who is watching, come and join Sacred You, sacredyou.love. sacredyou.love/join free. Come and join us in our village. You get so much on offer, including Sheila's next panel, which is next week. Not even sure. That's all about the emotion code and breaking free as well. Looking forward to that. And Nick, before we finish up, I have one question for you, my dear, because you didn't get a chance, and you're going to have to answer this in 5 words or less. How would you describe your super consciousness or your higher self?
Good on you. By the way, I put my link tree there so you can connect YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Yep. All down below. Yep.
So super consciousness is, I think we all said it. It's your infinite self. It's just the way I showed up today. That's the way I showed up. I didn't plan it. It's a co-creation with God, and it's the energy that flows through us. It's being in the flow. It's being ourselves, not trying to be someone else, and roll with our own unique energy. Unique energy. It's you roll with your energy. You can't go wrong.
Absolutely. Thoroughly. Thank you again. And for everyone out there watching us, click on the links below for all these amazing women. Connect with them. Come and join us in the village. Come and join Rowley's Moon Medicine Circle Tribe and all the other stuff that we offer. Have a beautiful week, and we will be back very soon. Thank you.